A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Films I'm Willing to Talk About Again. And let's just say that with the fact that we're going to have one last episode of this series today, what I hope to do here is cover up one last new film for this series. This is pretty much the 5th time that I've done it so far, and I'm more than happy to talk a bit about The Addams Project. Another film that I was able to watch on Netflix some time ago, and it gave me the inspiration to pretty much give a 5th and final bonus episode to this series. And so, with the upcoming season 2 of films I should have talked about years ago, there will be a lot more opportunities like this down the line, but for right now, let's talk a little bit about this film that concentrates a bit of a futuristic sort of project, starring the likes of Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo. And when I certainly tell you that this actually does happen to be a rather funny comeback to both of these guys showing up for the first time in a while, I can at least tell you for sure that, well, there's plenty of ways that you can look at it, but in this exact context, I am sure glad to identify that this one actually has had a pretty decent run. And for a brand new Netflix film, who would have thought that something that almost sounds generic as crap could actually be able to hold up on its own, especially with the impressive effects of all sorts of things. The plot, of course, does revolve around a specialized type of project that is, of course, made by the likes of several different people, and of course is eventually shared. But when it comes to describing everything else, I mean, it's a bit of a boatload of different entertainment, from the fact that it produces a jump scare in the form of a dog coming in and a kid shining the flashlight all around, and then the dog comes flying into the frame. Who would have thought? We also can't forget about the famous chase scene that goes on. Well, it probably has yet to be famous enough to the point where it can practically be Oscar worthy or some else like that, but it actually does help to know the fact that a real futuristic looking spacecraft is flying through the air, and just knowing the fact that Ryan Reynolds is in control of it, it makes it even more entertaining just to know a funny guy is controlling a entirely different form of transportation that we might not be seeing for decades now. A long time might pass before we even consider putting this up on the board as part of commercialized transport. And who could forever get the very last scene, the final battle that happens, with some impressively well-designed futuristic melee weapons, a glowing stick and nunchucks. It's sort of like almost like a modern futuristic interpretation of the Ninja Turtles, just with a bit more of a flair in technological advancements. And being that there's also the usage of some sort of magnetic suit involved, I tell you, like, who would have thought that the comedy revolving around something like this would actually be so high? I mean, a guy flailing around in a magnetic suit, attracting smartphones, laptops, and handguns. I mean, that's just impressive. Like, even with the defeat happening of our main antagonist friend here, it's just going to show that, well, Ryan Reynolds films truly do have a specialized spark of creativity along with the comedy itself that Reynolds himself practically provides with every unique masterpiece he's been featured in. Just to know the facts that other masterpieces that Reynolds has been a part of, Detective Pikachu, Hobbs and Shaw, and a bunch of other things out there. I mean, I never would have thought myself that it would work so well. But hey, you know what? We could always look at Ryan Reynolds in hundreds of possible ways. In the same way that we can look at other funny comedian style actors like Jim Carrey or Randy Quaid, or possibly even good old Chris Farley, up until his death in '97. But we can certainly remember the fact that there are lots of other reasons to like this film as well. If I could like it, then you could probably do so as well. I definitely would consider The Addams Project to be up for grabs by anybody who currently has a Netflix membership. So do be sure to watch it. You might look at it in hundreds of ways, as I did. But in any case though, that is pretty much all I will be able to offer on this end. I feel like I haven't talked about it very much, but that's because it's just corny bit after comedy bit after some horror and everything else. It sure is quite a piece. A marvel amongst other kinds of films on Netflix, especially ones that are exclusive to this one app alone. And with that in mind, that just concludes everything I have here to talk about based on bonus content. So, one final episode, of which I'll be talking about an old western, will be coming up later today. But until then, if you want to see more go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.